Hey everyone, so this is my review of Scorpion, Season 4, Episode 4, called Nuke, Kids on the Block. And essentially what this episode is about is that while decommissioning a nuclear missile, its fuel starts to leak, releasing a bunch of very toxic gases into the sort of launch chamber. And also, Paige is trying to stop Happy from continuing to tag along on her and Walter's dates. And this was a really interesting and entertaining episode that wasn't the greatest in staying entertaining, but it did have a lot of very fun moments to it. And I didn't much care for the whole angry Happy in this, that she's mad at Paige because Paige didn't want her to be around her and Walter as much and stuff like that. That wasn't the greatest. But then later when it was revealed in the episode that Happy's possibly just taking her anger out at Paige because of the fact that she's the one who sort of messed up the nuclear missile and was the one who started releasing the fuel and stuff, so Happy's actually mad herself but is taking it out on Paige. That made it a bit more interesting. But still, just that whole sort of thing that was going on throughout this episode, I didn't much care for. And then the moments with Sylvester were kind of boring, but okay, with him trying to focus on stopping this nuclear missile from exploding and doing all his mathematics skills and stuff like that, but then also continuing to get all the different stuff from the councilmen and stuff like that, about him trying to get his budget and funding through and all that. And I just don't care for that double life that Sylvester has. So I'm really hoping that somewhere down the line he eventually does sort of find a way to keep everything that he wants to keep, but then also give up the position as the councilman, because the fact that that double life thing that he's doing is just getting really kind of boring. And I did enjoy the whole beginning chunk of this episode, and then eventually what happened by the end of it, where they're continuing to try and find a lawyer for Cabe, and how all that eventually turned out. I'm very excited to see what's all going to happen now once the case to try and save Cabe's career and position in Homeland finally happens. And then how the team actually managed to sort of stop the nuclear missile from exploding and stop the whole fuel leak and stuff like that was really interesting, with all the different things that they did and all the different problems that they solved. And they just happened to be lucky enough that they brought a 3D printer with them to sort of help create a bunch of different things to help with their problems. So that was interesting, with them first doing all this different stuff to try and stop the fuel leak from causing the missile from collapsing on itself. And then eventually when they did have to launch the missile to sort of stop it from exploding, and then they had to disarm it, that was also interesting with how eventually all that worked out. And then just overall, like I said, this was a really interesting and okay episode that wasn't the most entertaining, but it did have some really entertaining moments in it between the different conversations that everyone had. So, yeah, that's my review of Scorpion, Season 4, Episode 4, called Nuke, Kids on the Block. So, yeah. Bye!